Hello, everybody. Welcome back and praise the Lord yet once again. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan, Senior, the Senior Pastor of the City of Hope Community Church. We are gathered together today with my great friends, my cohort, to help you once again as it relates to surviving the holidays. We hope your weekend was phenomenal, but we are back to give you another tool, tip, technique, takeaway to help you to navigate through this holiday season. I'm always happy to have my brothers and sisters in the Lord. We got the Dr. Elect Ashlyn Douthit, our licensed marriage, family, and therapist. We have Ray, who is the grief coach extraordinaire. We also have the Reverend Dr. Mark Fisher, who is a master's in social work. So these are individuals, y'all. This just ain't Sharkeisha and Tyrone off the street that's just up here talking. No, these are individuals who have been trained in their designated areas, who really are qualified, and they bring a level of validity to the nature of the conversations that we have been having. So, y'all, on today, the tool, the tip, the technique that we have as it relates to helping you to navigate throughout this holiday season, I love it. Stay connected. Stay connected. Oh, it's so very important that as you navigate throughout this holiday season, you understand the importance and the power of staying connected. I think I said in the last live, oftentimes there will be seasons where you need isolation. You need to be by yourself, and that's fine. But ultimately, if you stay in that state too long, the enemy tries to isolate you so he can annihilate you. That there's a reason why, even when you start looking at prisons, people they put them in solitary confinement. People start to lose their mind, right? Throughout this pandemic, y'all, a lot of people struggle mentally and emotionally because it was the lack of connection. For people who love touch, for people who love fellowship, for people who love to be around other people, they really, really struggle because there was a lack of connection. We want to tell you the importance of the power in this season. If you're going to survive in some type of way, in some type of shape, form, or fashion, you want to practice the power of staying connected. I told you the story before that when me and Tamika had our first little house and we were growing up, newly married, that our next door neighbor came out the house running and he was screaming. We didn't know what was going on. And so we go outside to see what was going on, and his son had hung himself in the garage. And so he's screaming, he's hysterical. Of course, he's not thinking about calling 911. So we called for him. When we're on the phone with the 911 operator, she kept repeating, stay connect, stay on the line. That's what she used. Stay on the line. She would say, what's going on? We don't know. We think this man's son hung himself. All right, please stay on the line. Stay on the line. Is he still there? Yes, ma'am. Can you go in there? No, ma'am. It's not going to happen. All right, please stay on the line. What is the address? We give them the address. And I think she could sense the hesitancy in us, or, what we were feeling. And she just kept repeating, stay on the line. The ambulance is on the way. The fire truck is on the way. Please stay on the line until they get there. Yeah, she was begging us in a season that was so volatile, in the moment that was so hectic, that was so critical, that was so crucial. She was begging us to stay on the line, to stay connected with her. That there was some stuff she was trying to get to us. There was information she needed from us in order to navigate the situation. And so being on the line, staying connected, it was so pivotal in the midst of that moment. And we believe that as you attempt to survive these holidays, you have to stay connected. Dr. Daffy, come on, talk to us about the power and the importance of staying connected.
Mhm. I mean, as humans, we're naturally social creatures. Like, we are wired for connection with other people, and having that sense of connection, especially in times of high stress and times of grief, or really, it's more important than probably any time, because, like you said, that sense of isolation can start to set in. Of like, I just want to be left alone. I don't want nobody to bother me. I just want to be by myself. And having some moments by yourself is okay, but when that becomes the only thing that you're doing, when you disconnected from everybody, that's when things can worsen, when more problems can set in, because we're not meant to be by ourselves and not have connection with people for long periods of time. That's just not normal. That's not what life is like. And what having people around you, like we mentioned before, is like having that sense of a team. Those people can be the individuals that can do those welfare checks, those moments to kind of pop in and say, "Okay, it's been 3 days. What you doing? I haven't talked to you. I want to make sure you're good." Because in the mental health world, or welfare, really in the health world in general, a welfare check is just to make sure someone is okay, to check on their well-being, of like, hey, talked to this person a couple of days ago. They were upset. I haven't been able to get in contact with them. Can you send somebody out there to make sure they're okay? So having those people around you and staying connected can help you in those moments when things start to feel overwhelming, when you're not sure where to go, when you have other people that are also aware of the issue. It helps you to not have to deal with it by yourself.
Yeah.
So they may not experience the issue in the same way that you are or with you, but they are there as a support to walk alongside you through it.
That's good. That's so good. There's so much I want to piggyback and say, but I'm a part. That's so good. Come on, Dr. Fisher. What you got? Stay connected.
Yeah, we are all wired differently. We've talked about team, we've talked about a person. So connectivity is critical.
Mhm.
Um, and as a result of that, I think that, as we talk about person, as we talk about team, there's different ways in which a person or your team can connect to you. They can see things differently, and so it's so critical to have that person, to have that team. And I think that it's critical to talk through the process of, when we talk about stay connected, we're not talking about hours at a time. We're not talking about weeks at a time with a person. It could just be, to Dr. Bauth's point. It could be just that welfare check, to pick up the phone. Hey, I haven't talked to you, in whatever amount of time that might have been. But the point is trying to make sure that you have some connectivity to an individual. The idle mind, I feel, is that devil's workshop. Being so isolated from people is that very root to allowing the devil to seep in to do his wonderful works of what he's just cunning and keen on doing, when it comes to the mindsets that we can be in this time of grief, in these times of holidays, suffering from the loss of someone. So connectivity is vital. It's important, and you can establish, you can determine, and make out what that connectivity looks like. Um, I think as we talked about team, as we talk about person, you as the individual can establish that, and that's important for people to understand and for people to know. Don't be thrust into believing that it has to be hours at a time. Make sure that you establish that as far as what it is, but to understand the criticalness around and the helpfulness behind what it can do for you, by just having somebody to check in on you, and for you to stay connected to your person and or your team. It can go a long way. I mean, just thinking about somebody having called and checked on you when you were down, um, can go a long way, versus not having had someone to call and check on you when you were down. So connectivity is important. And the wattage that you get from the different people on your team, they're plugged into you differently. And I can just speak from personal experience. A call from my mama versus a call from, just a friend, it hits me differently, but they can both be on my team. But being
Hmm.
connected to them too is critical. So
That's good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff, Doctor Ray. What you got to say?
I'm going to flip the script a little bit. While we do need to stay connected, we also have to be mindful who we are connected to, right? So, you connect to somebody, you don't have to connect to everybody, and you have to be mindful of who you are connected to, because everyone that you're connected to, first and foremost, is not going to be able to handle what it is that you are experiencing, right? The other part of that is, sometimes the people want to connect to you for the wrong reasons. They are not there to support you, or to give to you. They're trying to see what they can get from you. And in such situations, 9 times out of 10, you don't have a whole lot to give anyway, right? There are times in these holiday seasons where we are barely making it through, you know. My sister started putting up her Christmas stuff, and there was a poinsettia on the counter, and I was like fussing. And I saw some lights in the room, and I was just like, oh. And she said, I'm glad you're here so that you can deal with this. I don't want to be connected to you right now because I don't want to deal with this right now, but I know that it's something that I need to deal with. You know what I mean? And so I know that we have to be mindful of the people that we are connected to, and even in our most intense emotional spaces, God is gracious enough to allow us to lean into discernment so that we are not taken advantage of, because the flip side of grief is that there are people who will connect to you so that they can manipulate, so that they can take advantage. And sometimes, you know, it's like we feel so hurt and so lost and so broken, and we may not always recognize it. But there are times where we do, and we just have to be mindful. So we have to be mindful of that. So I would say, you know, it is great to stay connected, but be mindful of who you are connected to.
Yeah. So one thing that I heard when you said that is some connections are instrumental, other connections are detrimental.
There we have
So
it.
stay connected, but just recognize, is this connection helping me or is this connection hurting me?
Yeah.
And make sure that as you navigate through this holiday season, you are striving for the connections that are instrumental, not detrimental. You want to make sure that in some type of way is helping you and not hurting you. Look, we're so grateful and thankful and appreciative for all of you tuning in. We never want to hold you long. We just want to give you a tool, tip, technique, takeaway as you dare to prepare to navigate throughout this holiday season. And on today, we're talking about the importance of staying connected. So make sure that you continue to strive in some shape, form, or fashion to stay connected. And in the words of Dr. Eric Thomas, he always says, small steps lead to great distances. Now y'all know, let's go.